right, good morning and welcome in. It is Mornings at Meridian here on this Wednesday morning, October the 25th, about 9 minutes into the 7 o'clock hour, the first hour of the two best hours of local live talk radio here in East Mississippi and West Alabama. And yes, usually when you hear this voice kicking things off, that means that somebody's not here today. So good morning, folks. Rob in with you and Charles Frazier hanging out as well.
That's right, just hanging out. Yep. Had nothing better to do at 7 o'clock on a Wednesday morning.
And the streak comes to an end at 2.
Hey, it was strong, though. That's 2. It's more than 1.
Yeah, that's right. So we got 2 in there. So.
Right.
Our number this morning, of course, 601-485-9191. Coming up in about 20 minutes, we're going to dip into some local politics. Of course, we are less than 2 weeks away from the general election here both locally and around the state of Mississippi. And we're going to have District 1 candidate for supervisor, Justin J.J. Anders. Of course, he is the Republican nominee on the ticket for November the 7th. So we'll be visiting with him a little after 7:30 this morning. Also, want to let folks know that we're having a few little issues with our Facebook feed this morning, but we are on YouTube, and we actually posted the link on the WALT Talk Radio Facebook page. So, Facebook's not being nice this morning. So,
well, it rarely is. So, nothing new there.
So we had to make we had to call an audible. I had to call an Omaha this morning.
Right.
So.
Well, good. I'm boycotting Facebook anyway.
There you go. So if you are one of the loyal folks who watches the show online, you'll have to do that through YouTube this morning, and we posted the link on the WALT Talk Radio Facebook page. So
you posted on Facebook.
I know.
But yet we're not on Facebook.
I know. That's what's crazy.
Okay.
It's like I go to try to connect it this morning, and it's got all these errors and everything else. So
Gotta pay your bill.
I was like, all right, well.
No, it's free, isn't it?
Come on, Dothan, pay the bill.
Yep.
But anyway.
Checks in the mail.
Checks in the mail. So a lot to get into this morning. Of course, we'll have Anders on a little after 7:30 this morning, but a lot to get to. Speaker of the House, are we trending in the right direction or not?
New day, new candidate.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Good grief.
Yeah. Okay. Roll the dice.
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
Who's next? Yeah. Shuffle the deck.
It's getting to a point now where it's like, I keep saying this on the show, who is the best possible candidate that they're going to actually push through?
Yeah.
You could put anybody up there right now. I mean, it's just like they're not going to get enough votes again, probably.
I know. It's
and guess what? And guess what? That chamber continues to be frozen.
Right. Which is a good thing. They can't do anything bad, so
Yeah, but it is embarrassing though that one party cannot get this done.
Right.
So, but
it was embarrassing last week, and now it's getting to be ridiculous.
Well, it got to a point last night. I was around 8:30, 9 o'clock. The GOP had these behind the doors meetings, trying to get some kind of a initial vote of who they wanted to push forward as their nominee, and it came down between Johnson from Louisiana and Byron Donalds, whose name has been thrown around a lot over the past several days from Florida. Of course, he got a lot of national attention when he first got into the House, and he'd be a good speaker too, but it looks like Johnson is the one they're going to go ahead with. Mike Johnson from Louisiana.
Another Louisianian.
So there's a potential for a midday vote today, and we'll see if they go ahead with that or not.
Yeah, I'm not really paying attention to that at this point. Just tell me when they get one.
Just tell me when they get one.
Right.
So, but I love how how Fox News and Newsmax and all these other agencies are like, well, it looks like this is going to be the one. Well, you said that last 2.
The last 5.
Good
right.
Lord, man.
I mean, yeah.
But here's the thing. I can't wrap my mind around the fact that they'll go vote again today, and it's going to be the same 3 or 4 that are going to vote either Scalise or McCarthy. What's the point in it anymore?
No point.
I mean, tell me your reasoning behind doing that.
You made your statement, you made your case, and okay, now let's get on with it. It's ridiculous. They're just holding it up.
And the thing about it is, you may think I'm crazy for saying this, but a lot of folks are talking about it. Constituents in a lot of these districts where these 7, 8, 9, or 10 are voting the way they are, take notes when it comes to next election time. And is that going to hurt the Republican Party when it comes down to some maybe 8 or 9 seats? Could be a tipping point maybe for who controls.
Well, I don't know that those constituents are going to go switch parties, although you never know. If they're on the cusp anyway, they may just say, I'm fed up with this party.
Or somebody runs against them in a primary maybe.
Yeah.
So.
Well, that may be it. It's the primary they need to be concerned about probably. But You know what? Yeah, they're shooting themselves in the foot. They really are. And hopefully they'll get the message and just say, okay, fine, we'll get on board and just get this thing done.
Did somebody check on Matty Gaetz to be sure he's okay with Johnson being the guy? Because he's kind of the one who started this whole thing.
Yeah. Right.
Matty
I don't think
Gaetz.
anybody's calling him at this point.
I know, right? Well, I mean, the thing about it is the last couple of votes that they have had, Gates and Bobart and some of the others that have traditionally been kind of stalemates.
Girl, tread carefully here.
But they have voted in a certain way. But they voted along Jim Jordan lines and others the last couple of votes. So it's not necessarily them. It's like these 8 or 9, 10, 11, whatever it might be, folks are just holding this whole thing up.
Well, they're really damaging the party. And, it's not, it's hard to say how it's going to predict or how it's going to play out for their next election cycle, but I don't think it doesn't bode well for them.
Yeah. So allegedly they're going to have a vote today. Okay. So we'll continue. It's a big day news-wise because you have a potential House vote today on Speaker. Of course, Donald Trump is back in court today. That's a big story.
Case number 15, 16?
Yes.
What are we on now?
I'm losing track.
Okay.
And today, it's hard to believe that we live in an age where the President of the United States has his first press conference where he actually takes questions from reporters. This is the first time he would have done that since this whole Israeli thing has started. And, of course, he's got the Prime Minister of Australia in D.C. today. They're having a big state dinner tonight and everything like that. So I think they're having some little joint presser today, and he's actually going to take questions. So I'm like, is he really even going to answer anything today?
Well, I know the question's going to be rehearsed. I mean, is it scripted? A lot of questions there. So we'll see. I mean, speaking off the cuff is certainly not one of his strengths.
No. So that'll be a big story today as well. But yeah, it looks like, they just put up on Fox News here in the studio, looks like 11 o'clock our time is when they'll do a vote on the floor today for Speaker. So we'll see. See if anybody even comes close to that 217. And Trump is going to be back in court today at 9.
And which case is this? Do we know?
I don't know. Okay. I mean, that's the thing about it is I've lost count.
Yeah.
I mean, I literally have lost count.
I don't know for that.
I mean, I really.
Page 37. Oh, that case. Oh, okay. He's over there for that
Trump
one.
Court cases for dummies.
Right.
Just open it up, and that's what it's going to be. So, like I said, it's a very busy news cycle today as far as the national stuff goes. But we'll keep a very close eye on it. 601-485-9191. This portion of Mornings Meridian is brought to you by our friends up in Philadelphia at Doc's Toyota. Of course, make the short drive and check out their good line of vehicles up there.
That's right. You can drive up there or check it out online, docstoyota.com. They've got all their inventory listed. They show what's on site and kind of what's down the pipe and all that kind of stuff. So you can go there and build your vehicle, or you can just see what's on the lot that you can drive up and just purchase today. Of course, they've got 2023 Camrys, Tacomas, 4Runners, Tundras, Corollas, Highlanders, RAV4s, you name it. Toyota makes it. They've got them, and they've got plenty of them. They also have a huge selection of pre-owned inventory, and all of the pre-owned inventory has been through the rigorous multi-point Toyota inspection process, so you know it's a good quality car. Toyotas are great cars anyway. Go check them out. They're open 8:30 to 5, Monday through Friday, and again on Saturday, 9 to 3:30, docstoyota.com. And, of course, you can give them a call, 601-781-8017 for sales. Doc's Toyota, there is no deal like a Doc's deal.
So did everybody survive Candy Crawl last night?
I think it's a misnomer, okay? I didn't see anybody crawling. I don't know where this crawl thing came from,
I mean, I'm just using the words that everybody survived Candy Crawl last night.
It was a candy walk.
I mean,
I don't think. Hey,
bullets could fly anywhere. I'm just saying.
No bullets.
Oh, you stop with all that!
There was some dum-dums flying and some, I didn't see any Reese's flying because I don't think people throw those.
You took my Reese's peanut butter cups. We're gonna get in the brawl.
Give it back. But great turnout. The weather was great, and so lots of kids. I mean, and lots of parents for that matter too, which is good. But
and of course, MCC had their candy cruise right after that at 5:30. So there was plenty of candy.
So you could piggyback.
So there was plenty of candy to be had yesterday.
Candy.
So
right.
Let's go to the phone line this morning at 485-9191. Hey, caller, welcome in.
MAGA morning, true American patriot.
Has.
Well, the Republicans are an embarrassment, man. I tell you, not only are they as spineless as a jellyfish, they're always the ones that go across the aisle and kiss up to the Democrats. You never see the Democrats break ranks. and here the idiots, they can't even organize a cookout, man. I mean, who they going to run next for speaker? The janitor? Just put old Marjorie Taylor Greene up there and let that big heifer run it. Lord God, I mean, it's pathetic. It really is. And you've got to look at how embarrassed America is. Can you imagine what our enemies are thinking?
Oh, they've been thinking that a long time ago, even before this.
Oh, my God, horrible. And like over there in Israel, Netanyahu. Now, don't you know that kid took a lot of jank growing up? Your name is what?
Netanyahu.
Yeah. But he doesn't need to listen to the United Nations. He doesn't need to listen to these blithering idiots in America that can't even run this or secure our own damn border. Here, the Pope, he's got to weigh in on this too. Let's all have a big day of fasting, and now let's eat burgers and French fries and kill them people, man. Unless you get the boys from the burning bush, light it up. Now, they've given them plenty of time to get out of there, which is much, much more than I would have done. I wouldn't have said a word. They'd just wake up dead.
Well, now we've got our American troops over in Iraq being attacked now too. So this has got a whole other layer to it.
It's fixing to escalate.
Yeah,
it's going to escalate. But here it is. This is giving Hamas more time to build their sniper positions, the booby traps. They'll lose more and more Israelis, and they'll use their own people as human shields. Well, you want to play that way, we can play that way too. We'll play hardball. Put them out there as human shields and see if they stop the bombs and the bullets. But, yeah, these people, death and dying is all they understand. This humanitarian deal, that's the biggest joke in my life, man. Humanitarian. You're going to give the enemy humanitarian aid, but when Israel kills some civilians, quotation marks, the whole world is outraged. Was anybody outraged when Israel's people got killed? No, is one life more important than another? But see, the news, it's got to fit the narrative. It's got to fit the narrative. The Palestinians are oppressed and, they're freedom fighters and yada, yada, yada. All pack of lies, man. Just go over there and defend that little piece of dirt, the IDF. They got the big boss man on their side, and take these devil's disciples and send them where they need to be, boys. Send them to hell. Send them back there with the coach. Roger that.
There we go. The has spoken this morning. 485-9191. But, yeah, that was another layer that we mentioned there briefly about, our American troops being attacked there in Iraq now.
Sure.
So, but, this thing is about to escalate to a different level.
And we see Erdogan in Turkey coming out in support of Hamas, which he's an EU member. Turkey is. I mean, he's not. But, so that's now there's a different dynamic within Europe. And I think that the problem is if Netanyahu and the IDF go in and just, carpet bomb Gaza, then you've got 32, 33 Arab countries surrounding Israel that are all going to go, wait a minute. We're not going to allow you to do that. And then you've got a huge escalation, and we have to get involved at that point. And so does probably Western Europe. And then you've got, does Russia get involved, especially with Turkey and their relationship? And China, what do they do? Sit on the sidelines, or do they just go ahead and take Taiwan?
President Trump, I mean, at a lot of his rallies, and of course his rallies have unbelievable attendance week in and week out. Of course, we mentioned he's in court today for Lord knows which case this is. But yesterday he was at a rally, and he started using the words World War III.
Yeah.
And a lot of people can roll their eyes at that, but you know what? If this we're not that far away from it.
If you project it out as it could develop.
Very easily
could develop that way, then yeah, I think that's what we're looking at.
I mean, because with the Ukrainian situation, what's going on there, of course, China's kind of sitting back watching all of this kind of transpire with Taiwan potentially. And, of course, everything that's going on with Israel. You mentioned Turkey there, too. And, I mean, there's still hostages that are being held right now, and a lot of those are Americans. So he's not too far off by saying that.
Right,
So,
and look who's sitting in the White House.
And he's going to have his first press conference today where he's actually going to be answering, well, they say he's going to be answering questions.
Yeah, I'm just going to find I was going to say highlights of that, the lowlights of that.
I'm about to say.
I'll watch
the highlight would be about 2
I'll
seconds.
watch Sports Center for that one.
Exactly.
And here's Joe.
Well, and the embarrassing part, there's a lot of layers of that, too. Today, there is some kind of a call for a national walkout on college campuses today. For supporting the Palestinians and for them supporting Hamas. They're going to walk out of school today and basically continue to protest, as Joe Biden would call, the other team today. So this is going to happen at Harvard and NYU and other places today. They're just going to simply walk out of all their classes today. You know, which is probably good anyway, because all these professors are indoctrinating them anyway. So.
Well, there needs to be some sort of reckoning for that. And you know, we are seeing a lot of these donors for Harvard and other of the big schools, you know, kind of saying, you know, my pledge is no longer any good. I'm not going to do that. Of course, their endowment is billions of dollars.
Oh, yeah, it's ridiculous.
So I think they're like, okay, sorry to see you go, but we don't really care. But, you know, a lot of these other smaller schools that maybe have a liberal bent are going to really suffer from that. But as well they should. You know, if you're going to indoctrinate kids that way and support that sort of thing, then, you know, don't give them any money.
Well, I mean, they've got these individuals on video ripping down posters of these individuals that are being held hostage.
And that to me, I don't understand.
And I'm like, I don't get that.
No, you can support one side, and certainly there are some merits to the Palestinian cause.
Sure.
You know, I think that anybody who does that needs to separate the Palestinian cause from the actions of Hamas. Because
exactly.
they're kind of totally different. Obviously, they're related, but you know, all Palestinians are not members of Hamas, and that needs to be a clear distinction. And of course, you know, if you know the history of it, then there was some displacement and things of that nature. Now, it was 80 years ago at this point. I mean, it was in 1948, and even before, into the 20s and 30s. A lot of that land was purchased by the Jews as they came in. So, you know, it was legitimately gained. And a lot of the Palestinians actually voluntarily left their villages and things because, well, they were afraid of, you know, Israeli, or I guess they weren't even Israelis at that point, but certainly Jewish incursions into that area. But you know, the whole history is so cloudy and so it's so murky as far as, you know, who's right, who's wrong, and this and that. But regardless, we do have an established state right now that's a sovereign state. Yep. And they suffered a brutal terrorist attack. And to support the Hamas is unconscionable, I think, you know.
And then you have the squad sitting up there with these crocodile tears coming down their cheeks, and I'm just like, really?
Right. No, they need to support getting, you know, if they're supporters of the Palestinians and Hamas, then they need to go in there and communicate with Hamas and say, release those Americans. Those are our citizens. And the rest of the Israelis, too, you know.
But it's amazing to me. They sit up there and they cry, and they just, but here's the thing. They still have yet to say that they are against what happened to these babies, to these women. I mean,
and what's happening to the hostages now?
You have reporters that ask them a simple question. They just ignore it and walk onto an elevator. It's like you can sit there and you can cry and have your big protest, but you can't defend that.
Right.
Because,
why would you not cry over something that's even more tragic?
Exactly.
Yeah, it's brutal.
So, but and of course, yesterday, Karine Jean-Pierre was behind the podium doing her thing yesterday, and she had to walk back some comments about Islamic phobia yesterday too. So, but I was like, it's just the messaging continues to be mixed all the way around the board on the Democratic Party. It really does. Yeah. So, but it's. I think it would be a pretty simple deal, a slam dunk deal, but it seems like it's skewed all across the board right now. It really is. So 485-9191, and while we have an opportunity before we get to our Fox News break and our visit with one of those local politicians, we need to thank our no, not Coroner this time.
Thank goodness.
We need to thank our friends over at Purvis Business Machines, and of course, Charles, you know I love that slogan: "Service, not excuses."
Since 1979, that's right. That's what we need to have at the restaurant. Service, not excuses. No excuses, and we kind of do. But that's a great philosophy to live by. Of course, what's great about it is they live by it.
Yep.
I've got a Purvis Business Machine at the restaurant. I know we have multiple ones around the office here. And if I need a service on my copier, boom, it's one phone call, and then the tech is there either that afternoon or the next day and gets us going immediately. I don't have to call a 1-800 number tech support line.
Hello, I am Mike. I will help you.
My name is Michael. It's not Michael. No, and you're not here, and you're not in Alabama. You're in Bangladesh. No, so you just call them, and they'll either walk you through it or they'll send the tech over. But of course, they've also got lease return color copiers. You can save up to 85% on those.
Yeah,
you can't save up to 85% on anything these days, except the lease return color copiers at Purvis Business Machines. Got a great website, gopurvis.com. Of course, they've got a wonderful showroom as well. Roger says he can eat off the floor. 4505.
That's what he said before. I was like, really?
Hey, that's a little weird. He's always talking about food. I think he's got an obsession. Yeah. Anyway, 4505 Highway 39 North. Go see him. Their number, easy to remember, but you can write it down if you want. 601-693-COPY. That's just smart. You think that's a coincidence?
I just love it. Keep it simple, stupid. I was always saying.
That's exactly right. Keep it stupid, simple. Yeah. All right. Purvis Business Machines. Service, not excuses, since 1979.
All right, we're going to take a break here on Mornings in Meridian, but when we return, it's hard to believe that we are almost at the end of this election cycle. We're less than 2 weeks away.
Yeah, but then we've got the national coming next year, so it might as well just keep going.
I don't know about you, but I'm tired of going to the polls, man.
Tired of voting. Filling in those little circles. I'm done.
We're going to visit with Justin J.J. Anders, candidate for District 1 Supervisor, after this break. We'll be right back.
You know, they've got the best cell phone repair guy in the business. Bring it in for that quick fix. Open 8 to 4:30, Monday through Friday. Conveniently located at 2618 North Frontage Road. Of course, that's in between exit 152 and 153. Give them a call today, 601-693-1500. That's Battery One Source, and it is your one source for batteries.
Well, Charles, we are less than 2 weeks away from another big day where we got to head to the polls. This time we don't have to go to the schools.
Where are we
Will
going?
you go to
Will
your
you read off where we're going again? Because I don't
No,
even
because
know.
you're going to where you usually vote.
I went to school. Where do I usually vote? I don't even know anymore.
Yeah, we are at a general election time, of course, statewide offices and local races as well. And he's no stranger to us here at Mornings in Meridian. He's back in to talk about his campaign. This time it's the general election campaign. We've got Justin J.J. Anders, District 1 Republican nominee for that seat. And J.J., good morning to you.
Morning, guys. Thank you for having me again.
Seems like we've had you in a lot. You had to go through a runoff and this and that. And
Hey, anything worth having couldn't come easy.
There you
I mean,
go.
and we're only 12 days and 23 hours and 21 minutes and 19 seconds away from the
It's like a
polls.
sheriff.
what are you, the sheriff or the countdown
Well,
clock now?
I've got the countdown clock.
You got a countdown.
Yeah. I mean, until the polls open. So I'm just please go vote on November 7th. Too many people have fought and died for that right, and as you guys were just talking about, there's a powder keg over the Middle East that unfortunately that hopefully calms down sooner rather than later. But there's too many people that wear that uniform every day to ensure that we have that right and a lot of others, and we need to honor that and just honor our vote. I mean, without a vote, you don't have a say. That is your voice. I mean, we live in a representative republic. I'm asking to be your representative from District 1 on a 1 of 5 member board, and to voice your concerns, advocate for you, and bring my business background to the business board of Lauderdale County. I'm not running for coroner. I mean, I know there's, I don't know if Clyde's coming in. Clyde for coroner. You were talking about that one time.
Clyde for corner.
But I'm running for the business board because that is my background, and that is, the Lord blesses us all with different talents. And Charles, I know, is this very successful businessman, and this is what I want to do is be your advocate on that board.
Well, JJ, I know we've had you on the show several times, but just for folks who are just now getting to hear you for the first time, give us your background and kind of what led you to jump into this.
Sure. I'm Justin J.J. Anders. I was born and raised right here in Meridian, Lauderdale County. Went to Mississippi State, grew up in a family-owned business, started working in the warehouse when I was 12, was a manufacturer's rep for years before I moved back and opened my business, the UPS store, then started a rental property business. And, it worked out perfectly that I had an offer to sell my business, which was a very good business move for me and my wife and our boys. And then when Jonathan decided he wasn't going to run again, just the dominoes all lined up. And I was the nerd in middle school that when they taught this, I just fell in love with it. I mean, we live, I just said it, we live in the greatest country in the world because it's run by us. And people sometimes think, kind of get complacent or, it's this or it's that. No, I mean, I'm living proof. I can go down. I went down to Miss Donna Jill, signed up, knocked on a lot of doors, still am. And here I am talking to you guys. And in, 12 days, 23 hours, 18 minutes, you can hopefully go vote for me.
17 seconds?
Yeah. 54.
Okay. So close.
But I love the way you put that, and I think that's what stands out to me is the business board of the county.
And that's what it is.
Because there is a lot of layers to a business, and especially when it's a county business, and there's a lot of things that the board is responsible for.
There is. And the number one thing is being good stewards of your money. I mean, it's our money. It's an unlimited checking account. It is not a money tree, which I wish we had one.
Yeah,
but
I have one.
Well, heck yeah! But this summer, I had the opportunity to sit in the budget meetings, and so since the middle of March, I've been going to every budget and work session meeting and just normal meeting they have, and I watched those 5 gentlemen up there, and a lady by the name of Miss Cheryl Polk, who is just the salt of the earth. She's awesome. But they sat there and they crunched the numbers, and they'd bring the different elected officials in or the different department heads, and they really tried to make the jigsaw puzzle work. And I say this all the time, it is truly the ripple effect in the pie. I mean, and Charles, if you have never had the peanut butter pie at Weidman's, it's phenomenal. But,
I've had it.
But
tasty,
if I want a bigger piece of pie, it's got to come out of somebody else's pie.
Right.
If he gives me a bigger slice, it's got to come out of Rob's or somebody else's. And to watch those 5 gentlemen, do everything they could with inflation going on rampant. Just gas alone has to hurt the sheriff's budget or Lima's budget or whoever's budget to watch those guys move pieces around so they don't have to raise your taxes. And I think the last time we had a tax increase was 2018, and hopefully that's the last one we've had for a long time because in business, Charles knows you have to make tough decisions. We may want a steak tonight. We may want to go to the Rustlers or Weidman's or wherever and get a steak and pie and everything. But sometimes we got to eat a peanut butter sandwich.
Sure.
You know?
Absolutely. And the thing about it is, too, when you look at the way the voters just spoke out very strongly during the school bond issue, when a tax increase is talked about, people really are very vocal about it, and they were back during the school bond. So obviously they want to see those numbers go up. So
yeah, we all work hard. I mean, everybody does. I don't care what your job is. We all have families. We all have responsibilities, and bills are not fun. And, and sometimes you just have to, scale back a little bit. Yeah,
exactly.
We have to do it at our house. I don't know about you guys.
Yeah, you got to.
Oh,
so.
yeah.
We got Justin J.J. Anders on the program with us this morning, running for District 1 Supervisor. Take a phone call. We got a caller.
I'll take them all day.
Good deal. Caller, welcome in.
Hey, good morning, y'all. I'm just fixing to head out the door, and it hadn't got anything to do with anything except what I've seen on TV this morning on Fox Business.
Yes, sir.
It just blows my mind that the trust that we put in this, I don't know if I don't, our president. And this guy is nothing but a traitor. He has sold out this country. He has a paper track record to prove it, and he still is in office. And that just absolutely blows my mind. It's as plain as day what he did when he was vice president. And he sold this country. He benefited with our enemy. And I'm telling you right now, if he was Republican, all hell would have broken loose a long time ago.
Absolutely.
And it's just it just blows my mind that this guy is still.
Yeah.
But anyway, I just had to call and I just had to vent a little
Yeah,
bit.
that's okay. That's what we're here for.
Nobody
That's
got
right.
trotted off to jail yesterday either. None of the Biden clan. Nothing moved. Nobody got indicted. Nobody went to jail. No nothing. Just like Hillary, just free and clear as she, today she's still free and clear with all she had done. But anyway.
Well, appreciate you as always.
Y'all have a good one.
Bye.
That's a real upbeat note.
Yeah.
I know. Yeah, we're all
It
excited now.
is amazing, though, when you think about it.
It really
This guy
is. It really is.
leading the free world, and he sold this country out bigger than anything, just as plain as day. But anyway, y'all have a good one. I got to go.
All right. Bye.
All right, see you.
All right. There you go.
I just want to make a comment about what the caller just said. I've always said, we live in the greatest country in the world, but thanks to God, we live in East Central Mississippi, which is the best place.
Yes.
And that gentleman right there, whether you agree with him or disagree with him, he proves my point because he didn't go negative against the president. He referred to it as the president, or when he was vice president, he didn't start calling names. You respect the office.
Yeah.
And, and that's how my parents raised me, and I'm sure your parents raised you. Just because we disagree and we have thanks to the First Amendment, we can voice that disagreement, but you still respect the office because you respect the country.
Absolutely.
And, if we ever lose that, then we're in trouble.
Absolutely.
Well, I think we're losing that,
Well,
unfortunately.
We're at a tipping
Hadn't
point
lost
right
it
now.
yet, but
so.
yeah, we're getting close.
Well, and I heard you guys after the primary and then the runoff, and then, you spoke about the bond election. Turnout. Please go vote. Whether you vote for me or not, when 30 to 35% of the people are voting to making this decision, I think I'm the best candidate, but that's for Charles and everybody else in District 1. No offense to you, you live in District 5.
I'm a 5 boy.
You're a 5 guy.
You're
I got a decision.
And
to make,
Kyle's a
too.
great guy,
Yeah,
and I hope you vote for him.
Yeah.
But I'm asking for Charles's vote today, and his wife, and all his neighbors, and everybody else in District 1. But that is our voice. If you don't like the way things are running, or if you disagree with it, put your name in the hat.
There you go.
That is every 4 years, that is your voice.
Yep.
And we can call radio stations and we can complain, or we can get on Facebook or the internet or social media and say things. But at the end of the day, the way our founding fathers, in my humble opinion, set it up is for us to use our vote as our voice.
Absolutely.
And that's it. But anyways, I appreciate the caller respecting the office.
Campaign trail. Of course, we talked
Yes.
about this last time you were there. Of course, obviously a big difference when you get into a general election run. What are you hearing out there in District 1? I know I know you probably hear 50 billion different things from a lot of voices. So
You do, and you know it's everything from economic development to safety to striping to that bridge better get replaced, type thing. And I'm like, look, it takes 3 votes,
right.
All my neighbors think that our road's going to get paved in 6 months, and I'm like, no.
That's gonna be the last one. Yeah. Sorry.
He's already taking kickbacks already.
That's right. Yeah, his neighbor made him that cherry pie.
That's right.
Yeah.
But
Peanut butter pie.
yeah, Reese's cups is what they bring me.
Oh,
yeah,
really?
they heard you didn't like them, so they bring them to me.
Oh, I love them. No, we just don't sell it or give them away at the restaurant.
Okay.
That's a whole different issue.
Yeah, but it's really it depends on the person, and truly what I have found, it's what affects Rob or what affects Charles is what they're concerned about. And that is the thing that you can't make everybody happy. You're not going to make everybody happy. There's only one person I've got to look at and make happy, and that's myself in the mirror at the end of each day.
I'm the wife.
Well,
Okay, it's 2
that
people.
goes without saying.
Okay, I
that
just
goes,
wanted to clarify.
Look, Emily's awesome, and yes,
Okay.
she keeps me in line. But it really affects the whole pie when you start trying to do one singular thing. You kind of like what you and I were talking about. I like the numbers. I like to know how the sausage is made. But you also have to look at the big picture. You have to see the forest and not just the couple of trees. And again, being a humble business owner that everybody listening was more than likely a great supporter of, and I can't tell you how much that my wife and I and my family appreciate that. But I want to bring that same mindset to the county business, because truthfully, this is a big business in this county, the county government. And how you manage that.
Economic development, that's always a big issue
Absolutely.
in every campaign.
Absolutely.
And I know you hear folks call this station all the time and like, well, I see Tupelo getting this. I see Ellisville getting this. I see Jackson getting this. Why is Meridian left out in the cold always? That's probably one of the main things you hear a lot of folks say.
The main things. I had an older gentleman not too long ago when I was out walking. He asked me about that and said, what's the first thing you're going to do if you get elected? And I said, keep my mouth shut and my ears open, because I don't know, nobody, myself or my opponent, know what exactly goes on in executive session with economic development or anything, or dealing with the NBDC, or what the objections are, what are the pitfalls or the hangups, or why we're not getting something. But I hope I have that opportunity to ask those questions, because we have everything in the world going for us, everything infrastructure wise. Airport, railway, hospitals, military installations, everything. The Tom Bigby Waterway, not too far away. We are geographically set up perfectly to explode.
Well, but and you say that, it's interesting. We do have everything set up, but obviously we don't. What are the
Exactly.
things that we don't have set up?
That's a great question, and I hope to look into that. I mean, I think personally, and I've said this to anybody that'll listen, today, after you listen to us, hopefully, or at 9 o'clock when the show goes off, because you want to listen to these guys, but you need to call your state representative, Billy Adam Calvert, or Mr. Horn. You need to call your state senator, Jeff Tate. You need to call your congressman, Michael Guest, and get in touch with Cindy Hyde-Smith and Roger Wicker, our 2 state senators in Washington, and do everything we can to get the new mission at the 186. That new refueler plane would be one of the biggest economic development things we've had in our county in the past quarter century. I mean, that is a 50-plus year mission that would do great things for not only that National Guard base, but for our area in general, because my understanding is it comes along with several hundred permanent Air Force jobs. And, we need to show our support. We need to show our enthusiasm. We need to show our dedication, not only to our military in general, but specifically to our men and women who serve so great out there at the 186. That, in my opinion, that's because the feeder companies that come along with that, everything else, and then what fresh eyes does that bring to our community? So, again, I'm a businessman. I'm an old sales guy. And, Charles, you know this. If you don't ask for the order, you're not going to get it.
That's
Every
right.
time I'm in your restaurant, which is good, and I would try to go there a lot, but the waitress or the waiter's going to say, what kind of dessert would you like tonight? Not would you like dessert, what kind of dessert would you like? We've got this pie, we got this pie. If you don't ask for the order, you don't get it.
Yeah.
And I mean, I've been told no a lot in my life, but I've also been told a lot of yeses too. And you know, what is the hang up? I don't know. I don't think anybody that's not sitting on that board knows, but I look forward to the opportunity to find it out.
I know a portion of District 1 obviously is in the city of Meridian.
Absolutely.
And you hear probably from a lot of folks out there when you're knocking on doors about crime.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
and it's a delicate issue with being on the Board of Supervisors, because with it being in the city of Meridian, it's that delicate balance between sheriff and sheriff's office, and obviously the Meridian Police Department, which has a lot of issues. We can all agree on that. But I know that's a big one you hear with a portion of that district being in the city.
Oh, absolutely. And my response to everybody is, we all live in Lauderdale County, whether you live in the city or you don't. If you're, Mayor's not part of my district, or Collinsville's not, or Meehan's not, or Denville or Wyandott's not, but we all live in Lauderdale County. And I will say, from my humble opinion, for the past quarter century, that has been the one consistent thing is Sheriff Solly and his department has done a phenomenal job. You know, we just have to support. We just have to be supportive of our city, our county, our men and women that work in law enforcement. I'm going to give Devin Snowden, and I couldn't have asked or begged for Devin Snowden or Chris Bullock to be, more enthusiastic, more nice, both fine young men, supporting me and throwing their support behind me. This was nothing personal for us. But Devin said it best when he said it comes down to pride. He said, if your yard needs to be cut and you cut your yard, then your neighbor sees it, he starts cutting his yard, or you start picking up some trash. If we start protecting our own, then it's contagious. I mean, I was talking to some buddies the other day, and we were laughing about when we were kids. We'd all run around the neighborhood or whatever, whose mama's house we were at, fix us a sandwich or whatever. Yeah. But she also tore us up, too. Yeah. If we were acting up, that's the thing. I mean, it takes a village. And, it's all of us looking out for each other. And if we see somebody doing something they shouldn't do, just say, hey, knucklehead, don't do that.
Sounds like us. Well, like, hey, knucklehead.
I mean, right.
Yeah. But it's like my little one says, it's difficult. It's not easy. It's difficult. Tricky and easy. I mean, tricky and difficult.
I love it. Okay. I love all the sayings from the Anders family. I love it.
Write them all down.
Write them all down.
Glossary going.
The Anderisms.
That's right. That's right.
There you go. So,
but now, I mean, crime is an issue, but it's an issue everywhere.
It is.
It's not. We are not unique. I mean, I had the opportunity, in business or in sales, you do your homework, you do your due diligence, and a good friend of mine's uncle is a supervisor in another county. And so I reached out to him a few weeks ago and talked to him, and just to get a different perspective, and then he invited me down to one of their board meetings last week, and I went down there and talked to those guys, and they face a lot of the same challenges we do. Sure. I mean, it's not unique to Lauderdale County. Again, I go back to something that I was involved in partially years ago. Was the First John 3:17 program that Trey Long started. And Trey's a great friend of mine, lifelong friend, and he did such a great job with that. But it just proves we may not be the richest, we may not be the biggest, we may not have every restaurant or convenience out there in this area, but we have the most give your shirt off your back people, help your neighbor when it comes down to it, and that's what I love about this area. And that's why I want to do. That's why I'm sticking my name in the hat to help. Hey, the Lord blessed me with this. Let me see if I can do my part to make Lauderdale County a viable option, not only for my kids and grandkids, but y'all's too, everybody's too. Yeah,
because it's not just about District 1; it's about the whole county. So,
and that's my mentality. If it's good for the county, it's good for the county. Yeah. Obviously, I'm applying to be District 1's advocate on that board and their voice on that board, but at the same time, I want to be an advocate for the whole county. Yeah. And absolutely. I mean, and that's one of the things I've heard out there. Well, my power's or my water or my sewer or this, that, and the other. The board of supervisor or the school board's done this or they've not done or whatever. My third grade teacher gave me an F. I don't have any. The board of supervisors
deserve the F probably.
Doesn't do anything with that on the day-to-day basis.
Yeah,
but I can be your advocate. If Charles calls me, hey, Charles, I don't know, but let me find out, and I'll tell you who to call, or I'll ask them to call you. I mean, that's what I'm there for. I'm your local contact.
Fantastic. Well, JJ, we got a couple of minutes left here. We'll just kind of let you have the floor and talk to the folks in District 1.
Well, again, thank you guys as always for having me. It seems like we've only been here for about 30 seconds. But I mean, it's just
it flies by.
I mean, we just have a conversation.
Yeah.
But again, I'm Justin J. Anders. I am asking to be your District 1 supervisor for Lauderdale County. I want to be your representative on the business board of Lauderdale County. I'm a business guy. I'm a family man. You know, my heart, my passion is right here. I hunt, I fish, do everything in Lauderdale County, go to church. I'm available, I'm accessible. If you ever did business with me at the UPS store, you're going to get that same level of professionalism, consistency, availability as your District 1 supervisor. And I'm asking for your vote, but more importantly, go vote. I mean, I want your vote. I'm selfish that way. I'm asking for your vote. I'm asking for the order. But at the end of the day, go vote. I mean, nothing would make me happier than we had 80 or 90% turnout. I mean, really,
Great.
It would be great.
Yeah.
But you know, and too many people have fought and died, and the old saying is, if you don't use something, you're going to lose it.
Yeah.
Well, you know, not saying that's going to happen anytime soon, but you know, this world's getting a little screwy.
Yeah.
So
Good way of putting it.
Yeah, you might say that.
So,
Yeah.
but anyways, thank you guys. Please remember to go vote, go vote, and hopefully you vote for me, Justin J. Anderson.
And vote at your regular precinct. We're not going to the schools this time.
We're not
Okay,
going to school.
no school.
No
Right.
schools.
Okay.
No. There are 5 precincts in District 1.
Yep.
There's the Meridian Little Theater. There's North Park Church on 39. There's the Landing on 39, just north of Briarwood Road. There's Bailey Presbyterian Church, and then Trinity Presbyterian Church. So those are the 5 District 1 precincts. Please have your ID ready. If you have any questions, Miss Donna Jill will answer those. You can call her. You can even go absentee vote now.
Yep.
You know, she'll be open Saturday till noon. If you've got a surgery, if you've got a college kid that's coming to town for the weekend, go vote. If you're going to be out of town, if anything, go vote.
Donna Jill needs a vacation after
She
this.
does. and
Long
I
vacation.
do want to, you know, being new to this process, Miss Donna Jill, Miss Tina down there, all the election commissioners, they have a thankless job. They work so hard, so tirelessly. They have been able to answer our questions. You know, every time you go in there, thank them for the job they do.
Absolutely. JJ, good to see you, my
Yes,
friend.
sir. Appreciate you guys.
All right, we're going to take a break. We'll be back.
Meridian's News Talk leader
All right, welcome back into the show, and big thanks once again to Justin J.J. Anders for coming by to see us. Of course, candidate for District 1 Supervisor, and of course, good luck to all of our candidates as we're getting into that home stretch now, as we're less than 2 weeks away from the general election here in Lauderdale County in the state of Mississippi. Hard to believe. When this whole process started, we finally gotten to, close to the finish line here. So.
Yeah, we're not there yet.
Not there yet.
Maybe in sight, almost.
Absolutely. So, before we get to, I want to get to the sample ballot because we really haven't had a chance to talk about the actual ballot itself. But before we do that, let's thank our friends down at Trucker Supply.
You know, at 519 Highway 19 South, your one-stop shop for all of your tools. Christmas, 75 days away, something like that? Oh, my goodness. It's almost here. Kinepix Tools, they got them there. They're like channel locks on steroids, and a full room of Milwaukee tools made right here in the state of Mississippi. Everything they make, they've got them up there at Trucker Supply. And, of course, if you like Yeti, and who doesn't, they've got Yeti mugs, coolers of every size, lunch boxes, and even Yeti dog dishes. Got to get the pooch something for Christmas,
That's right.
And, you know, this month they've also got a special on Hotsy pressure washers. 6 months, 0 down. You buy it for Halloween, and you don't pay till March. That's a pretty good deal. Hotsy pressure washers. Hotsy. And, you know, they're the best in the business. So if you're looking to start a pressure washing business or you need one for your home or business, go see them at Trucker Supply. You can give them a call at 601-693-2316. Of course, they got a great website, truckersupply.com, or go see them 519 Highway 19 South, across from the mall, right next to McDonald's.
The sample ballot, of course, the general election is coming up on November the 7th. Here is a look at the sample ballot real quick. And, of course, thanks to Donna Jill Johnson sending us this information. The governor's race, of course, we've talked about that a good bit here on the program. And, of course, it's all about Brandon Presley and Tate Reeves, Presley being the Democrat and Reeves being the incumbent Republican. But Gwendolyn Gray is technically still on the ballot, even though she's dropped out. So because all of the ballots were already printed, and she had not officially dropped out of the race, so she is technically going to be on the ballot.
Think she did that by design?
Maybe so. But
Ballots are printed? Okay, good. I'm dropping.
So she'll be on the ballot as an independent coming up on November the 7th. Lieutenant Governor, of course, Delbert Hosemann going to be a pretty heavy favorite, you would think, going up against D. Ryan Grover, Democrat.
D. Ryan?
D. Ryan, that's what it says, D. Ryan Grover.
Okay.
Secretary of State Michael Watson, the incumbent Republican. His Democratic challenger will be Ty Pinkins. Attorney General Lynn Fitch, the Republican incumbent. Democratic challenger will be Greta Kemp Martin. State Auditor, of course, Shad White. His name has been thrown around a lot on this program.
Good for him.
He is the Republican incumbent going up against the Democratic challenger, Larry Bradford. State Treasurer David McCray, the incumbent Republican, against the Democratic challenger, Addie L. Green. Commissioner of Agriculture, you got Andy Gibson, the Republican incumbent, against the Democratic challenger, Robert Bradford Sr. Commissioner of Insurance, Mike Cheney, the Republican incumbent, against the Democratic challenger, Bruce Burton. Public Service Commissioner, you've got Brent Bailey. Of course, we just had him on the program not too long ago. Republican against DeKeither A. Stamps, the Democratic challenger. Transportation Commissioner, you got Ricky Pennington Jr., the Republican, against Willie Simmons, the Democrat. And then when you get to a lot of the local races here in Lauderdale County, a lot of unopposed, like Cassie Coleman for district attorney. Some of the Senate races, like Rod Hickman in 32, Jeff Tate in 33. Now, House District 45, we have 3 candidates in 45. Michael Cassidy. A lot of folks hear that name, and they're like, that's a familiar name. I remember him from the Michael Guest race. Yes, that is that Cassidy. And on the ticket with him is Keith Jackson, the Democrat, and Trent Rickles, the Independent. So you've seen some of Cassidy's signs starting to pop up here locally, but that is District 45 for the House. Of course, 81, Steve Horn unopposed. Charles Young Jr., 82 unopposed. Billy Adam Calvert unopposed. And, of course, Coroner. We got to 2 finally. We got to 2. It took a while, but we got it down to 2.
47 to 2.
We've got the Republican Stella McMahon against the Democrat Rita Jack. So
Stella Rita.
So there you go. So Stella and Rita in the coroner's race, and of course Lauderdale County Sheriff's race. The retiring Billy Solly, and looking to replace him is going to be the Republican Ward Calhoun against the Democrat Gerald Johnson. Of course, that race right there really got intense, obviously, with the primary.
It did.
And so those will be the two gentlemen seeking that office. Let's see what else we got here. We mentioned District 1 Supervisor already, Justin J.J. Anders, who we just had on the program a few moments ago, will be running as the Republican. Tyrone Johnson, the Democrat. District 2 Supervisor race, Wayman Newell, the incumbent Republican, who we will have on the show next Wednesday. He is got a challenger, Craig Houston, the Democrat. Josh Todd and Joe Norwood unopposed in 3 and 4. Now, Josh Todd had to get through a primary back in August. And District 5, Kyle Rutledge, the Republican incumbent, against John Temple, the Democrat. We'll have Mr. Temple on the program tomorrow, running there in District 5. And then a lot of these election commissioner seats, so there's one up for grabs, two Democrats. That's what it's listed here. Brenda Faye Harris and Consuelo Rue. They're in District 2 election commissioner. And let's see what we got. Justice Court, District 2. Andre Harris Sr., the Democrat, against Loretta Lolo Allen Bennett, the independent. And then, of course, District 1 judge, which had a lot of candidates on the Republican side. You're going to have Nick Lisi, the Republican, against Jesse Coachill, the Democrat, which we'll have both of those gentlemen on next week here on the program. And a lot of the constable races are all unopposed. So that is your sample ballot. Good Lord. Like I said, very lengthy ballot. And but yeah, so with the state stuff being included and the local races, it's going to be a very busy November the 7th going to your regular precinct.
Okay, good. I think I got it down.
Your regular precinct. So don't go to the school again. If you go to the school, they're probably going to call somebody to get you
call
off.
Security.
Yeah, call security. So, but yeah, we hadn't had a chance to go over the sample ballot yet, but that's the way things are going to look when we go to the polls.
Okay.
So there you go.
All right.
And of course, always reference your voter registration card of who's going to be on the ballot.
Do you actually keep those?
I do.
I have mine. Once in a while, I'll be cleaning my desk. I'm like, oh, my voter registration card. And then, it goes back in a pile somewhere. And I see it again about 2 years later. Yeah. But anyway.
Let's go to the phone line this morning at 485-9191. Hey, caller, good morning.
It is indeed. Who all's in today? I just got in my truck, so I don't know. Rob.
You got Rob and you got Charles Frazier.
Oh, okay. Where's Toby? His parole officer still got him or what?
Parole officer still got him, and of course, Roger, that's another story.
Right.
Roger's not in either?
No, he's out.
Oh, okay. Well, anyway, I normally call when there were, historical dates, significant events. And October 24th, 1944, in the Surigao Strait, you have no idea what happened, do you?
Educate me.
Well, it was the last surface engagement between battleships on the face of the earth. Admiral Jesse B. Oldendorf, commanding the Pearl Harbor battleships, the battleships were present at Pearl Harbor, crossed the T on Admiral Shima, and the Japanese lost terribly. They only had 2 battleships. We had 6. So, anyway, just thought I'd bring that out today. And today is the 25th of October, correct?
It is. Today is that day, yeah.
It also is the most one-sided naval engagement of World War II occurred when the Japanese heavy battle fleet attacked Taffy 3. You any idea who Taffy 3 is, the little escort carriers?
Taffy 3?
Taffy 3, they were merchant ships converted to carriers, little bitty things. And they confronted the super battleship Yamato and several other the main battle fleet, except for the 2 that Shima lost that night before. Mm-hmm. And it was the most one-sided naval engagement. 3 destroyers and 4 destroyer escorts turned the Japanese battle fleet. What's so significant, that battle fleet was 23 miles away from the Philippines invasion group, and there was no one there to guard them because the carriers, the big carrier fleet, American, and the American heavy battle fleet had run north. They had fallen for a bait trick that the Admiral Ozawa played on them. So if they'd got in there, they would have slaughtered those transports, and they were fully loaded. The invasion had not yet started.
Wow.
People
just don't know what those ones who fought World War II went through.
Mm. And now we mentioned earlier this morning, to get your take on it. Of course, President Trump was on the campaign trail yesterday saying we are looking square in the eye of a World War III potentially.
I think so.
You do?
Indeed, I do.
Yeah.
All right. Well, duty calls. I thought
All
I'd
right.
just bring that up to y'all.
All right. Well,
Hey,
appreciate
thanks.
it. We'll
Thanks for the
always
history
appreciate
lesson.
it.
Yeah, definitely.
There we go.
Awesome.
Well,
All right. Thank you, sir.
bye-bye.
All right, 601-485-9191 here on Mornings in Meridian. And while we have an opportunity, let's thank our friends down at Premier Paint and Body.
That's right. You get that little ding, dent, scratch, you name it, and they will fix it at Premier Paint and Body. Over 30 years providing the best auto body work and quality paint jobs. And, of course, their staff has over 90 years combined experience, led, of course, by Danny Shelton. No job is too small or too large. The results are like new. They'll work with your insurance company, and they'll give you a free estimate. And, of course, all of their work has a lifetime warranty. Conveniently located right next to Johnson Dodge on Highway 39 North. Open 8 to 5 Monday through Friday. And this number's easy to remember, but you might want to write it down anyway, because when you need them, you really need them. 601-482-PAINT. That's 601-482-7246 if your spelling ain't so good. But go see them because they are the premier paint and body shop here in town.
All right, let's go back to the phone line here on Mornings in Meridian. Hey, caller, welcome in.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Any comments and replies about the guest in Meridian for the class reunion that enjoyed their stay at John Tampa's 3-Foot Hotel this weekend?
No, sir.
Mm-hmm.
That could be good.
Well, there was a lot that went down over the weekend.
Yeah, no doubt.
That was my point for mentioning it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. A lot that went down over the weekend.
Yeah. I know I see sometimes Meridian Remember When they may post something at a later date.
Right.
From that. I think it was 1964 class.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, very good.
I got to listen to you guys talking with JJ in the last hour.
Right.
And as most people do comment about all of the assets that are here locally, whether it's airports and highways and rails and such as that, there's one thing that I happen to have acquired back in, I think, the late 90s. It was the first term that Craig Hitt served as District 3 supervisor.
Mm-hmm.
And I used to receive some advertiser complimentary newspapers from over around, I think one was out of Linden, Demopolis, Alabama, and one in Tupelo.
Okay.
And the one in Tupelo mentioned, and how as I read this, I discovered the difference between what was going on here in Lauderdale County as far as how to encourage and the growth of businesses in the community. And I shared that with Mr. Hitt, suggesting that since what we had done for so long in this area wasn't working, that possibly they could consider what they were doing in Tupelo differently that may help.
Mm-hmm.
And that didn't happen for us here. Maybe it's never too late. Exactly what they were doing, if you've ever watched the Lauderdale County Board of Supervisors meeting, you might occasionally hear them say something like this, or it would probably be the president of the board or the board attorney. We're going to adjourn now as the Board of Supervisors and reconvene as the East Mississippi Economic Development District. And then they'll talk about it.
Right.
Then they'll adjourn and take that information under advisement or table it and reconvene as the Board of Supervisors. Well, what they're doing in Tupelo was their board didn't do that. They had appointed people with successful business careers from the community. If I said the butcher, the baker, and the candlestick maker, that wouldn't be quite representative of the persons on their boards. You follow me?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, sir.
Yep.
Yep.
And I still think it's a good idea because there are people here that are smart. Maybe they've had successful businesses elsewhere and have retiree time to look into proposals that might also come through the famous EMBDC or other avenues. And I'm not recommended that they give them the purse strings, nor I do believe that they have the purse strings in Tupelo.
Right.
But they entertain the information, and then they would go to the boards and people as part of the discussion.
Yeah, we had mentioned economic development with JJ earlier, and gave us a pretty good answer, I thought, on that. And I think a lot of people would like to see instantaneous stuff. But I brought up the issue of, well, Tupelo gets this, Ellisville gets this, the coast gets this, Jackson or whatever. Meridian's always left out in the cold. But I'm like you, yeah, giving the purse strings to that organization, I'm not saying that either. So.
Well, that's right.
Yeah.
But they can have a commission.
Sure.
And it does go on elsewhere, and elsewhere seems to be more successful.
Well, that seems to be, but they are. You know,
Yeah.
I don't think there's any question about that.
Yeah.
And you know, what I asked JJ was this. You know, we always talk about what we got going on here. We got everything. Oh, well, we got all this. Well, that's fine. What don't we have? What are we missing?
Right.
Let's figure that one out first, not what we do have. You know what we got. And there's nothing we can do about that at this point. I mean, you know, it's here. But let's figure out what it is that we're lacking and then fix that.
That might work.
Well, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, and
how much is working at this point?
And of course, you heard when JJ mentioned the 186 too, and you
That's
know,
big.
that would be a big shot in the arm here if that were to you know, come to fruition out there.
Sure, I think it's something we need to push and find. You know, get those numbers for everybody to call and have that, and maybe post it on Facebook so that people know how to communicate with their representatives, so that we can show a lot of community support for that.
Right.
Sounds good to me.
There you go. I totally agree.
Yep.
Thank y'all.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thanks.
There you go. So, but yeah, he had mentioned that last hour. Yeah, contact Mr. Guest, Wicker. I mean, all of them, because that would be a huge addition here to Meridian, Lauderdale County, the 186th, with that aircraft out there. That would be.
And that's probably something that the EMBDC needs to drive and say, okay, send that to all their members. Just give them a form, and they can fill it out or email them, and that way they've got something right in front of them. They've got a reminder, and then, you know, they'll be inundated, at least with all the members of the EMBDC.
Sure.
If not, through the rest of the community as well.
Right. 601-485-9191 is our number. Let's thank our friends right before we got a Fox News break coming up in about a minute or so. But our good friends down in Martin Roofing.
Right, they're not running for coroner, but you might think they are because their signs are everywhere. And why are their signs everywhere, Rob?
Because they're that good.
Because they're that good. That is exactly right. They've been doing roofing right for over 30 years. And, of course, they're locally owned and operated, licensed in the state of Mississippi, and they take pride in standing behind their work from start through cleanup. And I mean cleanup is like they were never there, except for you got a brand-new roof. Call them today, 601-485-5920, for a free estimate, and they'll come inspect your roof for damage as well. Doug Martin Jr. or Doug Martin Sr. will be glad to help you with all of your roofing needs. That number again, 601-485-5920. Write it down, put it on the fridge, because when you need a roofer, you really need a roofer. It's not something that can be delayed.
Yeah.
And, of course, they are a member of the Better Business Bureau. Everybody needs a good roof over your head, and Martin Roofing can do that for you.
I know one thing. We were satisfied with everything they did in our place. And I'm going to tell you, the cleanup folks, don't just take that for granted, because they really stand behind that with their cleanup.
Now, they clean the inside, too? Will they do your bathrooms? Or probably not.
No, they don't go that far.
Darn it. Okay.
Maybe Gary Barber and them would do that. So.
Whoa. Gary's like, oh, no, we ain't doing that.
That's another conversation another day. We're going to take a break. Got some Fox News coming up. We'll get back to more of your phone calls. Got your money now as well. 485-9191. We'll be back. Oh, Sawyer Brown this morning. Mark Miller of Sawyer Brown turning 65 today. So happy birthday to him. If you're celebrating a birthday here on the 25th day of October, hope you have a great birthday. And you could actually celebrate your birthday with a little lunch down at exit 150, or just off of exit 150 at the Magnolia Restaurant there at the Queen City Truck Stop.
That's right, and you get some chicken and dumplings today. Who doesn't love chicken and dumplings? Well, if you don't, it's un-American. I'll tell you what. Just go ahead and hand in your passport. Of course, they got fried or grilled pork chops as well, chicken tenders, and fried chicken, hamburger steaks with onions and gravy, and, of course, they've always got the veggie plates down there where the coffee's hot, the air is cold, and the service is friendly. The Magnolia Restaurant, the Queen City Truck Stop, exit 150, and their hours of operation. I'm looking right here. Can't find it. Oh, I know why, because they never close.
24/7.
That's right. They don't even list their hours of operation. They're always open. 3 o'clock in the morning, you need a little snack, head on down and get you the Biggie Burger, Rob's favorite. How big is it, Rob? It's humongous. The Magnolia Restaurant inside the Queen City Truck Stop, exit 150. Go see them. You will not be disappointed.
Of course, yesterday we visited with our friends at the VFW Post 79 Auxiliary. Of course, they're going to have that spaghetti lunch coming up on Friday there at the VFW Post 79 on Old Highway 80 West. They'll be there from 11 until 3 on Friday. It's going to be $10 a plate. And of course, you can pick them up there at the post, or if you do 10 or more plates, they'll deliver that.
Man, you got to be hungry to do 10 or more.
I know.
I mean, can you imagine? I could eat maybe 2, but
Yeah.
10?
Two's a lot, too.
I guess if you had other people, though, that would make sense.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, I see how that works.
You get that sauce up and down your chin there, you know, the spaghetti.
I'm on number 8.
Good Lord.
I'm full.
So Friday, 11 to 3, $10 a plate. Of course, the proceeds will go to help veterans here locally, and the Post 79 always does a great job every year with veterans and a lot of organizations they support. So spaghetti plate lunch, don't forget that, on Friday, 11 until 3, $10 a plate. And if you want that delivery, 10 or more plates, they'll deliver it right there to you. So there you
That's
go.
right.
Of course, a lot of numbers here you can call, but if you need more info, just give us a call here at Mornings of Meridian at 485-9191. Getting back to the Speaker of the House race, as we said, around midday today, around 11 o'clock or somewhere in those whereabouts, they're going to head to the vote on the floor there. But, yeah, Mike Johnson from Louisiana. This is he has become the Speaker designate. That was as of last night. He is the 4th Republican nominee in 3 weeks.
We got odds on this? Are you a betting man?
You know, from what I'm reading here this morning, it sounds like a lot of the folks that had really been on the fence about supporting either Jim Jordan or maybe some of the other ones that had been kind of those holdouts, those 8 or 10, 12, whatever it might be, some of those folks are starting to trend toward the other direction, maybe on voting for Johnson.
Either that or they're just tired.
Yeah, maybe that too.
Just do it. Fine. Whatever. I'll take him.
Well, and a lot of these individuals that have been holding out did come out this morning and say, you know what, I'll vote for Johnson. So, but they're saying it now. Are they actually going to vote that way when they get on the floor here later on today? So, but because a lot of those people, whenever you see the vote, it was kind of split up either between Steve Scalise or Kevin McCarthy. Still, which I don't understand why you're voting for someone.
How do you
like
think
that.
Johnson feels about being like the 5th choice? Like, okay.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. I mean, because you've had McCarthy got ousted.
Right.
Then you had Steve Scalise.
Right.
Then he dropped out.
He withdrew. So.
And then before they could really even get to an actual vote, which, folks, let's be real about this. Before they go on the actual floor and vote, there's a lot of wheeling and dealing being done behind the scenes.
Happen, yeah.
And I think the reason Scalise withdrew his name from consideration is because he knew he didn't have the votes. He didn't want to go through that step and that process. Hey, I'm wasting everybody's time. But if we don't have the votes, let's don't
forget it. Let's go somewhere else.
And Jim Jordan, whatever kind of deals he was making behind the scenes, he just couldn't get enough to get over the finish line. I mean, Hakeem Jeffries has got more votes than anybody so far, but you need the majority of 217 to get the gavel. So, but yeah, this is the 4th Republican in 3 weeks. So that's how long we've gone. Well, it's been almost a month now since we've had a speaker in the chair there, since Matt Gaetz and that handful of folks
debacle.
did. Yeah, the debacle. So,
right.
But there was 8 House Republicans who voted to oust ex-House Speaker Kevin McCarthy 3 weeks ago Tuesday. So, wow, so it's been that long now. So exactly just over 3 weeks.
Time flies when you're having fun.
Burkett from Tennessee, he was one of those 8. He said Johnson brings something to the table that's lacking in Washington. Representative Michael Cloud of Texas was one of the original 20 lawmakers to oppose McCarthy's speakership bid back in January. Of course, the 15 rounds of voting called Johnson a capable and good man. So you've got a handful of these that were either against McCarthy, they've been against Jim Jordan, whoever it is. It sounds like maybe there's some of the water starting to calm a little bit. I'm not saying that he's going to get the 217 today, but it sounds like it's trending in the right direction because maybe they're finally reading the writing on the wall like, hey, we need to get our act together.
Or maybe there's some pressure from some of their donors saying, yeah, go ahead and just get it done, But I don't know. You never know what happens behind the scenes.
Well, he has gotten the support of Steve Scalise. Steve Scalise has said that he has talked real well about him. Said he's honest, hardworking, principled. He's a great man for the job. House Republicans had gathered earlier yesterday. Tom Hemmer from Minnesota was going to be that guy. Well, he dropped out because he realized he didn't have enough votes to get to the 217. But it just a lot of folks keep asking me about this whole Speaker of the House race. It's amazing that you look at it from the outside in, us just watching the vote. The Democrats vote all together, but the Republicans just can't get their act together on this. So,
no, and it does not speak well for the Republican Party as a whole. It really doesn't.
So, but yeah, it came down between Johnson and Byron Donalds from Florida. Were kind of the two guys that were, I guess you would say, the finalists to be this next person they're going to put forward. So, but like I said, we'll see how it all goes today. But yeah, the vote's going to happen. They're saying it around 11-ish today. And it's amazing that while that vote's going on, potentially, Joe Biden's going to be doing that press conference with the Australian Prime Minister. It's going to be the first time he's actually going to take questions from the media. And then, as we said earlier, Trump's going to be back in court today, whichever case that's going to be. So today is a very busy day.
We need the split screen, watching it all at once. So maybe 4 to see what's happening in Israel, too.
Yeah, and the Israel stuff is... which, by the way, as far as the Israeli stuff goes, let's see what we got here. Anything new here? Israel's entering the 3rd week of war against Hamas after the terrorist group infiltrated the country on October the 7th, firing thousands of rockets to residential areas. Right now, as many as nearly 7,200 people have been killed in the war on both sides. That's 1,400 Israeli civilians and soldiers and 33 Americans. So that American count is at 33 now. And, of course, a lot of other numbers here as far as Palestinians go. And let's see, at least 10 Americans are feared to be among the 222 still being held captive by Hamas as far as the hostages go. Now, they did release 2 hostages, and you saw one of the hostages. It was an 85-year-old woman. They wheeled her out there, and she spoke to the media. What was it, a day or so ago they did that. 1 meal a day.
Yeah.
Feeding her cheese and cucumbers.
Well, she did say she was eating exactly what the soldiers were eating, or the terrorists were eating.
Yeah.
So I don't think that they were, withholding food. I just don't think they have a whole lot there, and so she was eating exactly what her captors were eating.
Yeah. And now here's another layer. I mean, this story to me, when you think you've got one thing kind of nailed down, there's another story that kind of bubbles to the top here. Now the Iranian supreme leader is accusing the U.S. of managing the bombing of Gaza.
Bombing.
So now you've got Iran pointing the dirty finger at the U.S., talking about they're managing the bombing of Gaza now.
Managing it.
So, and then you got the U.S. troops there in Iraq who've been attacked. There's 14 of those. So it's just layer upon layer of that particular story.
Well, and really the question is, what's the tipping point for the U.S.? How many attacks will we sustain before we say enough is enough? Now we're going to go in and bomb Iran or Iran or Iran, whatever it is. But there's a lot of I guess potential conflict down the road, and it really is. Like I said, what's the tipping point? Well, how many do we sustain before we, how many? I know there was some wounded servicemen over there.
Yeah.
What, a significant number? 20, 25?
Yeah, it was
something
good.
like
It was a pretty
Now, they didn't
pretty good number.
say
yeah.
the extent of the injuries. Kind of what, is that just a scratch, a cut, or are there broken bones or worse? And I would imagine it kind of runs the gamut of all of those things. But, if we have a couple killed in those attacks, then is that the tipping point? Or is it, a major blast or a terrorist attack or IUDs or anything like that? So, and I think that's down the road. That's going to happen. If this continues in the way that it is, it's almost unavoidable.
Yeah, because right now, Israeli did conduct some airstrikes overnight in the West Bank and Syria, and there are reports coming out that they did kill a Hamas commander
In Gaza?
I believe so.
Okay.
Yeah, it says Israeli forces have escalated their bombardment of the Gaza Strip as the war with Hamas enters the 19th day. The Hamas-run health ministry claims that at least 5,791 Palestinians have been killed and just over 16,000 wounded. Now, more than 1,400 Israelis have been killed. Obviously, we just talked about that. But yeah, one of those in the bombing there in the West Bank in Syria overnight, a Hamas commander was killed in that attack. So yeah, like I said, when you think one thing comes out, it's another thing that comes out. So.
Well, and there is a kind of prevailing wisdom that if the Israelis commit to going into Gaza, then Hezbollah, which has a lot more armaments and a bigger kind of standing terrorist army, I don't know what you want to call that, group of terrorists.
Might as well call it that.
Including well over 100,000 rockets, then would they attack northern Israel at that point? Would that be their cue to kind of enter into Israeli space and territory at that point? And that may be the plan. Wait till they're committed. You send 100,000 troops into Gaza, or they've got 300,000, I think, amassed at the Gazan border. So that may be the plan. Wait for the invasion and then come down from the north.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how it all plays out.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, as far as the U.S. goes, are you kind of hitting the pause button right now until you do some more negotiating with these hostages, maybe? Because there is still a pretty good number of Americans that are being held hostage. So
yeah, I really don't know what the American plan is, and as I said, there is a tipping point, but I don't know if that means invading Israel or attacking Iran. If you go to the source. And we're certainly not getting back into Iraq, or dare we say it, Afghanistan.
Full circle moment right there.
Man.
Really is a full circle moment. So, but going back to what Trump said yesterday on the campaign trail, World War III. When you talk about all these components that are going into this, let's don't forget about Ukraine and Russia. That is still obviously very much a conflict and what's going on there. And now you've got all these different countries that are involved in what's going on in the Middle East right now. And then we have a president that can't put two words together to even show strength in the shadow of what is potentially down the road here. So
yeah, the level of incompetence is just incredible.
Yeah.
But you look at the House too. The whole thing is in disarray, and you wonder, are we crumbling as a nation? And you hope not, but we definitely need some strength in the White House.
And as we mentioned earlier this morning, a lot of college campuses, they're doing it right now, have staged pro-Palestinian walkouts of a lot of campuses today. So they're showing NYU right now. They just showed Harvard a few minutes ago. But yeah, they basically have all walked out of class today.
Okay, ought to fail them all.
Yeah.
Walk out? Okay. That's an F.
Boy, tuition's really being put to good use there.
Yeah.
Exactly.
$60,000 a year at NYU.
We live in a very interesting time. Let's just put it that way. So we're going to take a break, pay off some more bills. When we come back, we'll wrap up the show. Might have time for one more phone call or two, maybe. 601-485-9191. We'll be back. There's your favorite there, Katy Perry.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, she's turning.
The lyrics were just exceptional.
Yeah, she's turning 39 today.
Okay. Yeah.
Of course, she did her Ole Miss thing that one time on game day where she was a guest picker that one time.
Right. What's her connection to Ole Miss? There isn't one. Okay.
There you go. So little Katy Perry, she's turning 39 today. Of course, she's still doing the American Idol thing too.
Yeah,
so,
I don't watch that either. So
so many singing shows now.
No, none of them good.
Get about 5 minutes away from the top of the hour. Of course, Glenn Beck, followed by Clay and Buck, and of course the great Sean Hannity. And then after that, we got Joe Pags on your drive home here on WALT. Of course, online at WALTMeridian.com. I don't know if you saw this story or not, but is Bud Light making a comeback? Because a lot of people, of course, since the Dylan Mulvaney thing that happened, have really been very critical about Bud Light. And it seems that the UFC, Dana White, has signed a new 6-year deal to have Bud Light as the official beer of Ultimate Fighting.
Wow. How much do you think they're paying for that?
That's a good question.
Are we going to put Dylan Mulvaney in the ring? Maybe he can do some he, she, whatever. That they
How
can
do you do that? He, she, whatever.
what they can do some fighting. Yeah.
But it is interesting. And Dana White was actually on Sean Hannity last night talking about the deal that they just signed with Bud Light. And he basically said, you know what? It's a company that has done a lot in this country. They still work with farmers to get crops that they use for the product. They do a lot for Folds of the Folds of Honor campaign, do a lot for law enforcement. He was basically painting the company with a broad brush of all the good they have done. And are we kind of at a point now where is that kind of behind us now? Bud Light has learned their lesson, and maybe other companies have as well?
I think that the brand will always be tarnished. Can it make a comeback? Yeah, I think it can. I think that people have short memories, and I think that they'll probably just kind of, a lot of people forget about that. There's so much other stuff going on. You're always hit with the next controversy, the next, kind of cancellation, if you will. But I think there'll always be that kind of oh, you're drinking the Bud Light, are you? Something you need to tell us? That sort of thing. So they did a lot of damage to the brand, and I think that they made a mistake with kind of the endorsing Dylan Mulvaney and his 100 Days of Girlhood, or is that what it was? I don't even know.
It was.
Yeah. But what they really made the mistake was not walking it back and not saying, "Oh, that was a mistake." They kind of justified it, and instead of saying, "You know what, we shouldn't have done that," and that would have been the smart thing to do. Of course, that's Monday morning quarterbacking. We can all look at that and say,
sure.
"Oh, we can tell that was the right thing to do." But still, that was I think would have been a better course of action. So.
Yeah, Dana White did release a statement yesterday. Said Anheuser-Busch and Bud Light were UFC's original beer sponsors more than 15 years ago. I'm proud to announce that we are back in business together. He said there are many reasons why I chose to go with Anheuser-Busch and Bud Light.
Money.
Most importantly, because I feel we are very aligned when it comes to our core values and that the UFC brand stands for. I'm looking forward to all of the incredible things that we can do in the years ahead.
It's money. How much did they pay him? That's the question. Yeah, I mean, come on. It's all about the money. But, yeah, you can talk about how it's an important brand. And,
he said last night on Hannity, he said these guys employ 65,000 Americans, thousands of vets they spend over $700 million a year with U.S. farmers buying their crops for their product. And, of course, he went on to talk about what they do, obviously, for the military and this, and not. So, but...
It's justification is what it is, and which is fine. You can do that, but I mean, it all comes down to the money. How much was the sponsorship? And let's be honest, it was also the $10 billion that they offered us, but it's a wonderful company, and we love what they do. It's all about
And it's interesting that Modelo was their beer sponsor, and now it's Bud Light. Of course, Modelo kind of took over as the #1 selling beer in the U.S.
It still is,
because it took over Bud Light after all the controversy. So is this a trend maybe in the right direction for the company? I don't know. But like you said, what was the price tag on the agreement?
Sure, I think people look at that and see. But, it's all about... the new image that you create. And every season there's a new image. There's new commercials that go with football or whatever that is. And so you're recreating, or not recreating, but enhancing your image every kind of sports season, whether that's UFC, football, baseball, whatever that is. And so it will take some time, but I think Bud Light can recover from that.
Yeah,
I think
so. It's just going to take a lot more time than
right. But there's
than
always
now.
I don't know if it'll ever be number one again. I think there's the legacy of this will continue, and it's tarnished.
I believe so.
Yep.
So, well, we are out of time, folks. We're just seconds away from Fox News break and Glenn Beck. And Charles, have a good rest of your day.
You too. We'll see you on Monday.
Absolutely, folks. And as always, buy local. And hey, don't forget John Temple, District 5 Supervisor candidate, is going to be on the show with us tomorrow as we continue to dip into those local politics.
Dip in.
There you go. Folks, have a good day. We'll talk to you then.